Usually within 3 to 4 weeks, they start getting their first phone calls. But that doesn't mean that's going to turn into $1 million the next day.
Right.
And the next 30 days, you're going to get a lot more phone calls. And then within 90 days, what we see whenever we work with people, usually within 90 to 120 days, they're putting their first deal under contract. Now, you get that first deal, and the next month you get 2 deals, and the next month you get 3 deals, which is a gradual growth progression through posting content on YouTube. Maybe by that 3rd month, you're like, well, shoot, I've got enough to replace my income now. Or you might want to do it another month or 2 to make sure you have the consistency. But the second you're able to build up, I would say 6 months, or if you do enough transactions or complete enough deals to where you've got 6 months worth of income and savings.
You're listening to the We Love Equity Real Estate Show, a podcast that discusses the intricacies of real estate investing with your host, Marcus E. Maloney. Marcus is a real estate investor best known for being the equity king. He's been awarded that moniker because he and his team find amazing real estate deals. He will be talking with investors who have done some transformational things in the real estate industry. They'll discuss their process, their strategies, and how their investments transform their lives and the communities they invest in. We welcome you to the We Love Equity Real Estate Show.
Hello, what's up? We Love Equity Real Estate listeners. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're ready because we're going to be digging into marketing and social media and how you can market as an agent, as an investor to pull in leads and to pull in deals. And today I have Levi Lascsak from Lascsak. Levi Lascsak.
You got it right before. Yeah, you had it right before.
Yeah. Okay. Levi Lascsak, who hails from Dallas, Texas. And the reason why I wanted to have Levi on today is because he's doing some innovative things with social media that's really driving his lead generation and prospecting for buyers and sellers as an agent. So we want to touch on that on today. And what I want you to do is I want you to be open to receive from Levi, because it's not just marketing as an agent, but it's just marketing and branding yourself, period. And you know, here on the We Love Equity show, we want to make sure that you're getting out there and getting exposed. So without any further delay, let's welcome Levi to the show. How you doing, Levi?
I'm doing great, my man. Marcus, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. I'm really excited about this episode, man. So kind of share with us, what did you do prior to real estate and prior to marketing?
Oh, well, short story real quickly. What's funny is some of your listeners may know a guy by the name of Michael Reese, but I actually started selling gym memberships with him together back in the early 2000s. So I just gotten out of the military and I was looking for a job, and he recruited me to Bally Total Fitness. And that was my introduction to sales, which gym memberships at that time, I'm not sure how they're sold now, but gym memberships in the early 2000s was a very aggressive sales training and program. And so we worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And It was intense. Yeah. And we would make phone calls 10 hours a day. From the shift was 10 to 10 p.m., but we would call from 10 to 8 p.m. And so you had that little window at the end of those 2 hours where you could get ready for the next day, basically. But he took me to my first Brian Tracy event. It was the first time I'd ever been exposed to, self-education, self-development. And I just absorbed all of that and spent. I had a $300 limit credit card at the time, and I maxed it completely out. I bought every program I could from Brian Tracy. And so that's what got me started off in there. Now from there, Michael in 2002 got licensed. I remember he met a guy by the name of Jay Kinder one weekend, came back into the health club on Monday, and he was like, I'm getting into real estate. And I was kind of like, all right, cool. Not really interested. I wasn't interested into being a real estate agent or getting into real estate at that time. So I just kept doing what I was doing. Now, by the time 2004 rolled around, he talked me into getting my license actually in 2004, but I was still in the reserves with the military. And what happened was I ended up getting licensed in 2004. But after about a week or two of getting licensed, I got the call, literally a phone call that said, oh, by the way, you're getting activated. You'll be deployed. You leave in 4 days. And that was it. And then I was gone for 18 months. And I spent a year of that over in Iraq in 2005. And so, that time my reserve duty was up by the time I got home in 2006. I didn't, again, over that time, I realized I still wasn't interested in being a real estate agent. So I actually got into selling cell phones and I sold cell phones at the Costco. If you've ever been in Costco and you see that little booth, that's what I was doing back in 2006, selling cell phones. And I did very well there. And then I got offered a position with the pharmaceutical company because I got kind of recruited, somebody that knew me from selling cell phones there.
Okay.
Knew how I did and how I did in sales. So they recruited me to a pharma company. That worked out for about the next 8 years until I got really, really sick. And I nearly died from a digestive disease.
Oh, wow.
And I had acquired that digestive disease while I was in Iraq. And so whenever I came home, it messed with me on and off for about 8 years. Yeah, for about 8 years until 2013 happened. And then I ended up losing 50 pounds in 1 month. And I became completely bedridden, disabled. And that nearly killed me. But, God's grace led me to the right doctors at the right time, actually natural doctors. I went to 4 different medical doctors. They couldn't seem to get me well. But the natural doctors changed my diet, put me on some vitamins. I was able to recover. It took me a full year to recover. But during that time frame, I lost my job because they wanted me to come back to work and I wasn't physically able. I could only go on medical leave for 90 days. And when that 90 days was up, I wasn't physically able to come back. So I ended up losing that job. And that's what forced me to start my first business mainly. I started a lot of businesses before. I was always the serial side hustle entrepreneur that would start something and just was never, could never really gain traction or get that much into it. So this time I started a financial services business, got some traction, got contracts with Dallas Independent School District, started working with all the teachers on their retirement planning. And over the next 5 years, extremely lucrative. It was a great opportunity. I traveled the world because I had a teacher schedule, but I had about 5 times the teacher's salary from my business. So I was making really good money and had a lot of free time. Summers off, 2 weeks off for Christmas, a week off for Thanksgiving, every 4-day weekend. Yeah, every 4-day weekend you could imagine. Whoever's birthday it was, we got that day off.
You were celebrating, right?
Yeah. If the schools were closed, it didn't work. And the thing was, doing financial services, there was nothing really that I had to do on weekends or not. It was just. It was great and then I traveled to 24 countries inside of 3 years and just, wanted to get out and see the world. And then COVID hit, and so COVID hit and travel shuts down, the world shuts down, schools shut down. And so in April of 2020, here I was riding high, making great money. The first quarter of 2020 was my best quarter ever. 2019 was my best financial year. And the first quarter of 2020, I was outpacing 2019 by 40%. So I was like, man, I'm going to have my biggest year ever.
High expectations.
Yeah, man. And then literally like one day, the whole world just shuts down. And I'm sure everyone can kind of remember that time. And it was just kind of like, well, what now?
What next? Yeah.
Yeah. And, the thing is that even though I'm in Texas, a lot more freedom friendly, I would say, than some of the other states, even though things were coming back open a lot sooner, the schools still kind of had no end in sight. And so without me being able to go to schools or school campuses, I just wasn't able to meet clients anymore. And so, over the summer of 2020, I was sitting there going, all right, well, what's the next move? Because I didn't know when this would come back, when the business would come back. And so my good friend, Michael Reese, was still there after 20 years, which we've always kept up with each other and remained friends. And he was like, okay, now's the best time to get in real estate. So after 20 years, he's still trying to get me in. And the thing was, I was like, well, shoot, if I'm actually going to do that this time, man, I just don't want to. First of all, I was thinking, how do I start over without starting over? Because at that time I was 41 years old and I was thinking, how did I get in this position? How am I in a position where I have to start over at 41? If I transition to a new career in a new industry, how am I going to get good at that very fast? Because once you've been successful and you got to start over, I started thinking about, man, going back to pounding the phones and pounding the pavement, building relationships and starting all over again and trying to build a brand, in a Dallas market that is extremely competitive. And I just thought, man, if I'm going to do that, how can I do that? And how can I do that quickly? And at the same time, I knew I didn't want to do that one-to-one and shaking hands, and kissing babies. Nothing wrong with that. But I was just like, I don't want to do that. And so, again, Michael, something that he's always said that stuck with me was, it's not the best real estate agent that wins, it's the best marketer that wins. And so what I understood is I need a good marketing plan. I need to understand what I'm doing in a way to attract business so that I'm not out there chasing people down all the time. I want to be able to create something that will attract people, to that thing. And then that will bring them to me, which was, what can I create? So that's what kind of started me down that path. Was instead of getting into real estate and then trying to figure it out, I said, let me figure out a plan first, a marketing strategy. And if I can find something that I think may work, then I'll get into real estate. So I was still reluctant and didn't want to just jump into real estate just because, Michael wanted me to. I was like, let me see if I can figure out something first. So
Gotcha.
That's what led me to, that's what led me down the path to really start digging in. I knew social media, I could do that a lot quicker than doing traditional marketing. But then again, I also understood I didn't want to be everywhere. I didn't want to be on every platform. I really want to focus on one platform, because I think a lot of people that get started in the business, whether they're, even if they're an investor or a wholesaler or a real estate agent or a plumber, everyone tells them you got to be on every platform.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. And so that becomes overwhelming. It's hard to start. You end up putting 20% effort into 5 different platforms instead of 100% effort into one. And so I wanted to find the platform first where I could do that. And I wasn't sure which one. So I just started to kind of research all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and see, because those were the ones that people told me first, right? They're like, well, you got to be on Facebook and Instagram, and especially TikTok in 2020, because every agent got 10,000 followers on TikTok in 2020. So I was like, oh, well, but after I dug into them, nothing really set well with me. Nothing really made sense for me and my personality. And I just wasn't feeling it. So YouTube was really the last choice. But once I started to dig into YouTube, what I learned is that YouTube's a search engine, not a social media platform. And so therefore, if I could find things that people were already searching for and create that content, I had an immediate audience. And so, that was something that really, instead of trying to build my brand through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, where nobody knows me, and you're trying to build an audience that attract people to you, I was like, well, YouTube tells me what people are searching, so I can just create that content and put it in front of an audience that's already there.
So that's good. I mean, tons of information there. So let's kind of break things down a little bit. So I want to go all the way back. So you said that you were pretty much a serial entrepreneur. You would start things and nothing really stuck. How did you go through that period? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, they go through that. They want to try this and they do that for 6 months to a year and a half. It don't work. They don't gain any traction. Then they try something else. And it's that whole psyche and that mindset of, all right, you tried that, you failed. Yeah. Are you a failure, or did you just fail at this one aspect? How did you deal with that?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say I was a serial business starter. That's what I would say. I wasn't a serial entrepreneur, because now I am an entrepreneur because, well, I have been since 2014, but yeah. And I think what the reason why is I never took it seriously. If you're not all in, I think it's difficult. Now, yet, can you create a side hustle while you have a job? Yes. But I think for me, I was always a little bit lost. I wasn't really exactly sure what I wanted or what I was looking for. And so whatever crazy idea I would come up with, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of a good idea. Let me start something. And, you go down the road, you register an LLC, you get the domain name, and then, and then you're like, okay, well, then the real work starts to happen after that. And, the thing is that I understood sales, over all these years, I understood sales. I never really dug into marketing. And I think that's a completely different avenue. And so, the thing is that I think people look at marketing as a cost versus, value or understanding.
A value tool.
Yeah, exactly. Where to come in and how to maximize that. So for me, I knew if I could get in front of somebody, I could sell anything at any time, no problem at all whatsoever. However, you got to be able to get in front of somebody. And that happens because of marketing. Marketing is what brings the people in front of you. And so I never really understood, or actually I never really put much weight into marketing because I didn't understand it's really the flip. And I was an amazing salesperson. And if I could get in those environments where I was always a good, like cell phones, guess what? People, there's already coming in the door because they're coming into Costco. So I had that audience coming to me and I could close deals left and right. Pharmaceuticals, I was going to meet with doctors and I could get those deals because I knew where they were, how to find them, and just walk in the door. When I had financial services, I knew I knew how the teachers were. And that's whenever I really started to experience marketing, is where I did all that through email. So we would email teachers and ask them if they understood fully their retirement options, what's available to them. And that was really key because most of them would say, no, I have no idea. And so that was the end. And I'd say, well, let's set an appointment and talk about it. And so that was a way to do that. So before all of that, when I started things on the side, I didn't have customers coming in the door, and I didn't know where to find them. And so I think that's something that if you're going to start something, especially on the side while you have a job, then you want to make sure you've got a good marketing plan in place first. And so I think that is really key. In addition to that, there is, the one thing I think about if you have a job right now, it's your number one asset to starting a business. And the reason I say that is because number one, you likely have a fixed income. So if you have a fixed income because you have that job, you should know exactly what's coming in every 2 weeks or ever how much you get paid. Well, it's simple. You need to probably keep your expenses as low as possible. Don't overbuy everything else, and then use whatever excess you have to invest in your business. Now, on top of that, you probably have a fixed time, so let's just say you're working from 9 to 5. Well, if you come home, whether you have a family or not, maybe you're single, or if you have a family, you come home, you need to dedicate, if you have a family, maybe it's a couple of hours. This is where I think you've got to have a conversation with your family and say, hey, look, when I come home from the job, I'm going to hang out for an hour or two, we're going to play around, eat some dinner, talk. But, from 7 to 9 or 7 to 10 p.m., I need to, be in the home office. Yeah, I need to lock down and I need to work on my business. So with the job right now, you have a fixed income and likely a fixed schedule. So it's really up to you to decide how you invest that time and your additional funds accordingly. Now, the thing I love about YouTube for any business owner is this is the time, as far as if you're going to transition, I think it's a great opportunity for you to transition from a job because of that time and that fixed income. So, in the evening, okay, well, from 7 to 9, I'm going to make videos. I'm going to make content, and that's the time you do that. And you could make 2 or 3 videos. It doesn't mean you have to publish 2 or 3 videos, but if you did that Monday through Friday, you could make 15 videos a week. Maybe you only put out 3, but imagine that you've got 5 weeks worth of content in a 1-week time frame. Plus, you're still giving your weekends off. So if you work Monday through Friday at the job and you make videos Monday through Friday evening, then you've got Saturday and Sunday, even with the kids, or, if you want to go play, go mountain biking or hiking or, whatever it is you do. Now, if you're single, I would say work Saturday and Sunday too. But right. But if you've got a family, you've got to take some time for them. But also, I believe you need to have that conversation and say, look, I've got bigger dreams, bigger aspirations. I don't want to be in this job. However, I'm not going to compromise the financial situation, but it's going to require me to work in these off hours, take a little time. However, I'm still going to time for the family, and then come to an agreement with your family to say, okay, these 2 hours during the weekdays, and then we got a half day on a Saturday and we got a full day on Sunday or something, So I just think, having those conversations, that's what allows people to transition. But the great thing about YouTube, again, going back to that, if you create those videos and you start publishing 2, 3, 4 videos a week, it's going to be a gradual growth process anyways, especially for a real estate agent. So I think about a lot of real estate agents that try to start part-time. And, the thing is that, hey, keep that job. But instead of going out, the last thing I would want to do as an agent is come home, or even like wholesaler or somebody, if they're looking for deals, work an 8-hour job, come home, eat dinner, and then try to pound the phones from 7 to 9. I would not like that, but I could make videos again. And if you're trying to wholesale and you're trying to find sellers, then you just need to make content for that information that those people are searching for. If you're an agent, you start making content that people are searching for about moving to your area. And so when you do that, you start producing videos. Guess what happens? Nothing happens in the beginning. And so, but you're not worried about that because you have a job. And if you're able to do that, what's going to happen is usually within 3 to 4 weeks, all the people that we work with, usually within 3 to 4 weeks, they start getting their first phone calls. But that doesn't mean that's going to turn into $1 million the next day.
Right.
And the next 30 days, you're going to get a lot more phone calls. And then within 90 days, what we see whenever we work with people, usually within 90 to 120 days, they're putting their first deal under contract. Now, you get that first deal, and the next month you get 2 deals, and the next month you get 3 deals, which is a gradual growth progression through posting content on YouTube. Maybe by that 3rd month, you're like, well, shoot, I've got enough to replace my income now. Or you might want to do it another month or 2 to make sure you have the consistency. But the second you're able to build up, I would say 6 months, or if you do enough transactions or complete enough deals to where you've got 6 months worth of income and savings now, maybe you do quit the job. And then when you quit that job and you go all in, then you'll start generating even more business, because now you'll have that extra 8 hours a day. So to me, that would be the plan that I would work on.
Yeah. And like you said, having that runway, once you're closing some transactions, you have that runway, that money set aside where you can say, all right, I can focus solely on this and leave the 9 to 5. One of the big mistakes that I see that a lot of people make, especially when they have that entrepreneurial drive, they get motivated, they get excited, and they say the first thing they want to do is, I want to quit my job. And you're saying, hey, no, don't do that, because that's your level of stability, and you just work around that until you're in a financial position to do that.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So you talked about, creating the content and finding the content, and YouTube being that search engine. So starting out, because that's one of the big fears that a lot of people say is, well, who's going to want to listen to me? I don't know, everything about Dallas. Like you starting out as an agent. Hey, you're just starting out as an agent. Who's going to listen to me being a rookie agent? What would you tell the people that have those fears about, creating content?
Yeah, the thing is that I'm sure you've lived in your area for a certain amount of time. And that was the deal for me. I believe the reason that Facebook, Instagram, TikTok didn't really fit with my personality, because whenever I researched, what I found was a lot of agents that have been in the business for 5, 10, 15 years, giving their experiences, giving real world advice, educating people on the process of do this, don't do that. And I hadn't sold a home
been
yet.
there.
I hadn't sold a home yet. So I'm going, okay, could I read about a VA loan or an FHA loan and regurgitate that information? Sure, I could do that, but it didn't feel authentic to me. Now, this is the other part that I learned in my research when I started digging into YouTube, was what I found that, people are actually searching about Dallas. They're not searching about the loan process and the title process and the escrow process and any of that. None of that. They search Dallas first. And the thing is that being in Dallas for 20 years, hey, I know Dallas.
Dallas.
I can talk about Dallas all day long. I can talk about the suburbs, the neighborhood, things to do, places to eat, which is what people are searching for. So, and if you're looking for sellers or wholesaling properties or anything like that, it's people start searching, what to do whenever I get behind on my mortgage, what happens pre-foreclosure, they start searching that stuff. So if you're making content about that, guess what? There's people already searching that. Nobody's going to Facebook and saying, hey, honey, it's time to buy a house. Let's see what's on the market on Facebook.
Right.
Hey, honey, it's time to buy a house. Let's go on Instagram and see if we can find the best agent posting market reports. Or hey, honey, it's time to buy a house. Let's go on TikTok and see if we can find the best dancing real estate agent. So they're not going to those platforms primarily to search for information. I mean, TikTok is starting to kind of trend in that direction, where they're saying now people are starting to use it more of a search engine. The thing is that they go to YouTube. YouTube's the number 2 search engine behind Google, and Google owns YouTube. And if you Google anything these days, you'll notice they'll throw up a bunch of YouTube videos. Yeah. So you might as well be where the eyeballs are at for people that are researching the information that you have. And so from that case, it's very easy, because people do say, hey, honey, it's time to buy a house, but I think we want to live in Dallas, but we don't really know too much about Dallas. Let's research Dallas. And they start doing that, right? And they start going in there, and then guess what? all of our videos are going to pop up. And what happens is that we provide value first, teaching them everything about Dallas. We don't sit there and say, hey, here's the 7 tips to sell your home. Here's the 5 tips before buying a home. It's just about Dallas. And so what happens is that they assume that we know everything else because we provide them so much education on what they're initially looking for. So they're not even worried about these other types of things, or these list of videos, or how to properly buy a home or how to properly sell a home, because they end up watching so much content on the front end. The video builds the relationship for us. So whenever they call us, they already want to work with us, and they know that we're the ones that help them. And because we provided them so much knowledge up front, they believe that we can handle everything else. And the thing is that the very, very first client we worked with and got under contract, they had no idea that was our first transaction. They thought we had been in the business for years and years and years, because
Gotcha.
that's how we presented ourselves.
So let's kind of talk about that first contract, but even before then, so you positioned yourself as a subject matter expert on Dallas, not on real estate and real estate transactions. So if a person moving from Phoenix said, hey, you know what, I want to move to Dallas, what to do in Dallas, right, your videos and everything would start to pop up, and they would start seeing, hey, this Levi guy is always around. Oh, and by the way, he's a real estate agent. Well, let's call Levi and see what he can help us with. So Levi, doing that first transaction, man, how did that feel? Because it's your first transaction. They're coming to you as the professional in the business, because a lot of people, they have that imposter syndrome. They feel like, well, I'm not the person that need to be talking about this because I don't have 30 years experience as a real estate agent or anything like that. How did you feel going through that transaction?
I felt great. So, I mean, if you're thinking that stuff, you need to get that out of your head immediately and just do it. I knew the one thing that was most important was to act like we've been there before. The last thing you want to do is, oh, thank you so much for meeting me. This is my first transaction. Because that does not make any client feel good. They want to, then they're going to start thinking, okay, are you going to do the right thing? Are you going to take care of me? Do you know what you're doing? So I would never say that. They never knew it. Now, fortunate for us, it was a new construction deal, and on new construction, the builders typically write those contracts, so it was a much easier transaction. But we also found a transaction coordinator from the beginning that, didn't charge anything until closing. So what happened, as soon as we would get something under contract, then we had the transaction coordinator to take over from there and do all that heavy lifting. And guess what? She's got years and years and years of experience. So putting the client with her, once things got under contract, she's able to handle any problem, any situation, do it all. And we didn't have to pay her until closing. And so it was a huge asset to us, because she made us look like we knew what we were doing as well. Because we were like, oh, by the way, now that you're under contract, go talk to our transaction coordinator. She'll handle everything from here. And so, you can put things in place like that in the beginning as well, so you can learn and grow your knowledge base and not practice on your clients, and the thing is if you do practice on your clients, which if you're starting out, you will have to do that. Don't ever show your cards, don't write up a contract. If you're typing up a contract in front of them, which I'd never recommend you do.
Right.
You don't have to now these days anyways. Everything's DocuSign, just say, okay, I'm going to go home or go to the coffee shop, type this up. I'll send it over to you on email. And that way you can go home, call your experienced real estate friend and say, okay, I got a contract. What do I do? And then, they walk you through it, and it's no problem. But don't sit there and say, all right, well, I got to go home. This is my first contract, so give me a couple of hours. I'm going to try to figure this out. Make sure don't say that stuff. If you can't get a house open, you can't get the lockbox open, don't sit there and go, oh, this is my first time, or man, I've never seen this type of lockbox before. Say, blame it on technology or something. Blame it on, oh man, the Bluetooth isn't working, or this must be malfunction. Let me step aside and make a quick phone call. And then you walk around the corner of the house and you call somebody and you say, hey, I can't get my key to work, blah, blah, blah. And they'll walk you through it. Or you can even call like your association. Yeah, they'll walk you through that stuff if you're licensed. If you're not licensed, you're an investor or something like that, then you're probably just going to have a keypad or, an access to a keypad system or something like that. So it's not a big deal. But never show your cards in the beginning, or really ever in business in general.
Right.
I've experienced so many problems and issues and things that have come up right in front of clients, and they never know the difference because I'll never tell them. Just like when we tell people, when you're getting on video and you start making videos, don't point out your insecurities. If you have a huge left eyebrow, don't say on your videos, okay, hey, it's Levi here. By the way, don't mind my huge left eyebrow. It's because 99.9% of people are never going to notice that in the first place, and so if you don't point out your insecurities, or you don't point out your lack of understanding of something, people will never know. And the professional can kind of just blow past that, fix it, come back to it, and still look like everything went smoothly. And that's the thing. And when your client calls you as well during any of the process, you don't say, oh my God, a major problem's happened, or this other agent I'm dealing with is a huge pain in the butt. I mean, you don't say those things. You say, oh yeah, if you're having a hard time negotiating or something like that, you let your client or your investor or somebody know, hey, yeah, I'm just having a hard time getting a hold of the agent right now. As soon as I get a hold of them, I'm going to give you a full update, blah, blah, blah. Or you just say something simple. You don't say, oh my God, I called this guy and he's such a jerk. I just can't. I mean, he's, blah, blah. He won't budge an inch. No, you just say, oh, all right, I'm as soon as I get word from the agent, or I wasn't able to have a good conversation, they were in the middle of something, and then if you got to go back to the drawing table, try to renegotiate or do something. So just don't show your cards, make yourself look like
always be professional.
Yeah. Like, you know what you're doing.
Yep. Always be professional. And that's one of the things that I say is always try and visually see what you're about to do. If you're going to show a client a house or something like that, get there early, work on a lockbox. That way you already have it open, things like that. So you just want to be proactive in everything that you do. So Levi, let's take a brief break, hear a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we'll talk about, your funnels, things like that, how you set it up with your social media to start attracting those clients. So let's have a break, hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Finding real estate deals can be a challenge, but with the Batch Leads, it doesn't have to be. Batch Leads has created a one-stop solution for all your real estate needs, so you can find more sellers, close more deals, and maximize revenue. Batch Leads offers a comprehensive suite of lead generating tools that cover text messaging, skip tracing, finding comps, and much more. Batch Leads help you simplify, manage, and organize all your data in one place. Batch will help you stack your lists and identify properties that appear on multiple lists and have multiple distress indicators. These sellers are likely to be highly motivated and eager to sell. Get the most powerful and complete lead generation platform in the industry. Locate sellers, buyers, and lenders nationwide in seconds. Go to batchlead.io and use promo code WeLoveEquity. Are you tired of seeing others becoming successful real estate investors and you just don't know where to start? You see all the Instagram posts of others being successful. You see the Facebook ads guaranteeing instant success. You look at tons of YouTube videos, and you even attend seminars just to be tricked into $10, $20, or even $30,000 courses. Well, with the Deal Finders Club, my husband is here to change things for you. Have you said to yourself, I'm deadly afraid to talk to sellers and I have no confidence. I don't know where to find motivated sellers. I don't know where to get a contract from. I don't know how much to offer the seller, let alone where I'm going to get the money from to close the deal. Well, in the Deal Finders Club, Marcus and his partner Mike are going to show you how to overcome all those challenges and more. Find out how by going to azdfc.com. That's azdfc.com. We'll see you inside.
All right, guys, we are back with Levi. And Levi, during our break, we were talking about social media and your lead funnel. Kind of walk us through that. You're creating these videos, then what? They're looking at the videos. Is it, let's have a chat? What's that call to action for them?
Yeah, we have anybody can watch one of our videos and you'll see the call to action in the video. So this is something that in my research and understanding that we never created a lead magnet. As far as I know, a lot of people do that. They'll provide free reports or download this or subscribe to this, which I think is that can be very beneficial. But what we found is that I think it's better, at least in our industry, in the real estate business, it's just better to let people consume as much content until they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing is that if we offered free reports or downloads, then people would probably go and download that. Now, the thing is it doesn't necessarily mean they're in the market right this moment. They may not be ready to buy a home for 6, 12, or 18 months. So if they download that information, that's great. We capture their information, but then guess what we're doing? We're now pursuing them. We're going to call them and say, hey, I saw you downloaded our free report. Are you thinking about buying a home? And they're going to say, well, no, I was just wanted information. I'm probably not going to move for another year. Okay, great. Guess what I can do now? I'm going to call you every 2 weeks and email you.
Right.
Basically by a year, when a year comes around, I'm going to talk you out of working with me because I've hit you so much with phone calls and texts and emails. And so what we found is that it's better to just let people reach out when they're ready. And because we do that, then we're not chasing leads. This is why we call our whole concept passive prospecting, is because we're letting the video prospect for us. Prospecting, if you're actively prospecting, you're calling people, right? You've got to convince them, or actually, once you make contact with them, you've got to build rapport, establish credibility, build a relationship in a very short amount of time. And then you have to really do that over a significant amount of time if you ever want them to, buy your product or service. But with passive prospecting through videos, they go in there and watch as many as they want. And then when they're ready, they'll reach out. And for us, and I've tracked all of this, our average contact to under contract is 47 days. So think about that.
Oh, wow.
And right now we're up to, within the last 2 years, we're up to well over 200 plus transactions. And our average contact under contract is 47 days, because when the people reach out to us, they're in the process, they're in buying mode, they're ready to make a move, they're ready to make a decision. So they come in and they act very quickly. We've put deals under contract as quickly as 3.5 hours when somebody first called us, because they called us and they would say, hey, actually the very first deal I ever did was somebody text me an address. Like I literally got a text message and they said, here's an address to this house. Can you help me get it? And it was a new construction house and it was available whenever I called. And it was literally that simple to get that done. And we've done deals within 3 hours, within 6 hours, within 12 hours, 18 hours, because when people call us, they're like ready to make that move. And so, that for us, and of course, whenever they call, text, or email, that comes into our CRM system. So what we view the videos as our funnel system.
Gotcha.
You think about it, it's a funnel system and I think it's the best part, because the client walks themselves through the entire funnel process. If you pay for ads, and by the way, we did this all organically without any ad spend. So that's the other power of using video on YouTube, is that if you pay for this, guess what happens? If you pay for ads, you've got to target an audience, right?
Yep.
And then once you target that audience, they first see your ad. The first exposure they have of you is an ad. So guess what they're going to do? They're going to blow it off, which is why you have to pay for retargeting campaigns and lookalike audiences and duplicate, and you've got to do all these tips, tricks, and measures, which nothing wrong with that. It works, but that's going to cost money to do that.
Right.
And so you have to move people through the funnel with a paid strategy, and every step of the way costs you more money. And so that's why you have to say, well, what's my cost acquisition, and determine how much ad spend you're getting as far as in exchange for the revenue that you generate, and understand if you're running a profitable ad campaign. But with YouTube, I just make videos. I make more videos. And guess what? The clients go and search on YouTube on their own. They find your videos on their own. Then they watch your videos on their own. Then they watch more videos on their own. And so after they watch 10, 20, 50 videos, they're like, well, I mean, this guy's giving me all the information I need. I might as well call him. And whenever they call us, they've already made the decision they want to work with us. And so we don't have to sell them on, working with us, or they don't call us and say, hey, I'm thinking about you and another agent. I mean, that's happened once or twice, but it just doesn't happen at all. People call us and they say, man, I appreciate all the value you provided on those videos. and I just had to give you a call. You're our guy, you're our person. And so that's the power of a free marketing campaign, and letting the customer take themselves through the whole funnel process on their own. And nothing can be more powerful than that. And the great thing about video is like attracts like. So you're going to end up working with a lot of people that are like yourself, because they're going to see your personality, and that you're going to resonate with the people that are a lot like you. And so, if you look at our demographic, it falls right between 25 and 55 year olds, but we mainly work with 30 to 50-year-olds, which is right in the middle of myself and my business partner's age range. Okay. So, I'm 43, he's 35, and that's what we get. We get a lot of 30 to 50-year-olds. And you look at the viewers on our channel, like 85% of the viewers on our channel are 25 to 50. So and that, again, we fall right in the middle there. That's our process, is to really just to create more and more and more content, so that we have more opportunity to be found. And we know that people will walk themselves. And because of this too, we've also been able to help people from all over the world. We've helped people from Belgium, from the Philippines, from Japan, from Australia, from South Africa, from the UK, from Canada, because guess where those people are searching? They're searching on YouTube. Yeah. They're not searching, if somebody wants to move from Australia, they're not, the first thing, they don't say, okay, let me find the best real estate agent in Dallas. They don't say that. They don't search that. They go, let's learn a little bit about Dallas. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep. And that's
excellent. And like you said, then your ROI is tremendous, because you don't have all of this ad spend, target marketing and everything like that. It's just the time. It's just the time to sit there, do some videos and upload the videos and let the videos work for themselves.
Yep.
Okay, so tell us, Levi, about this book, Passive Prospecting, because I know you guys have this book that's either out or coming out, correct?
Yeah, Passive Prospecting, the book is coming out. Our publisher estimates probably around February timeframe, February of 2023. We've already got everything done, written, completed. I was actually just reviewing the cover designs this morning, actually, which is very exciting. Okay. And it's amazing. I mean, it's a tremendous opportunity. It's something that I've always wanted to do, but I've never really, again, dabbling before. And even, with my financial services business, I didn't see a path to really help so many more people from that. But here now I see the way that this doesn't just apply to real estate agents. This applies to all small business owners, that you can take this strategy that we've perfected and still working on, we're still working on and building it, and apply it to your business as a small business owner, especially if you're a real estate agent. I mean, I think this is absolutely critical for you to be on YouTube, but we break everything down. The first half of the book is all about why YouTube is so important. We make all the comparisons and help people understand, why it's so powerful, even as a free strategy based on paid strategies, how it's far superior. And then the second half of the book, we get into nuts and bolts and actually walk you through the whole process of how to do it yourself. And you can apply those principles. And so the first half of the book, we call it the Passive Prospecting Principles, which is what makes YouTube so powerful. And then the second half of the book is the Passive Prospecting Process, which is how do you do it? And that's something that I've read a ton of books, but very few have like step-by-step process on how to implement it, and so I think this is a great opportunity where people, now here's the thing is I do believe that, books, we designed it to walk you through that whole process, but ultimately once you start doing it and get, working on it, you're going to start learning so much more. So it is definitely the grounding point of getting started on this, but it walks you through everything. And that's why I'm super excited about it.
Perfect. So guys, that is Passive Prospecting by Levi Lascsak.
Lascsak, you had it in the beginning. Yep.
Okay, Levi. So now kind of wrapping up here, man, how can we find you? How can we follow you? I know you have the YouTube channel. Feel free to give your URL of the YouTube channel and your Instagram, TikTok, all of that, so people can see, not only read the book, learn how you do it, but also see exactly how you're doing it.
Yeah, so right now they can sign up to be the first to be notified when we release the book, hopefully in February. That should be time frame there, but I just go to passiveprospecting.com. You'll find everything you need from there. You can find us on YouTube. YouTube now has handles, so you can just type in passive prospecting on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find our channel, or you can type in at passive prospecting on YouTube as well, and that should pop up our channel. And then, me personally on Instagram is just my name, Levi Lascsak, and I talk a lot about YouTube on my Instagram. So and then of course on our YouTube channel, we talk a lot about this in depth as well. And yeah, the book, again, you go to the website, you'll be able to sign up so that you're first to be notified when we release that. And I'm sure we'll probably run something as well for those people that sign up early, some sort of contest, sign books or some video equipment. We like giving out video equipment, so.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. All right, Levi, before we sign off here, man, give us, our listeners, some words of encouragement. Some of those people that are maybe struggling, trying to figure things out, and they just need some words of encouragement from somebody successful like yourself.
Well, it's funny. I posted this reel yesterday on my Instagram, and it was the 2023 business plan. And I took a screen record of a note. I was just typing a note, and I did a screen recording, and I said 2023 business plan, just typing it out. And I just typed out decide, I typed out decision, action, repeat.
Wow. You know what? That's real funny, because one of my, and I may have it right here, but one of my action plans was same thing: see opportunity, decide, take action, and do it again. So wow, that's talk about alignment right there. That's something else. Yeah.
And so we can end on this, and I'll just say, look, no matter what you're doing, I believe this is the best day and age ever to start your business. I believe you can hyper learn any subject in 60 days because of blogs, because of videos, because of YouTube, because of Google, because of books. I mean, any subject right now, if you look on Amazon, there's probably 5 or 10 books on it right now, more, even if you're in the marketing space. But the thing is that if you really want to dig into something, go all in, you can hyper learn that, I believe, in 60 days, which means no Netflix. Don't go take picnics at the park. I mean, how serious do you want to be? And I'm not saying give up your life, but I'm saying you got to have some sort of obsession in the beginning to hyper learn as fast as possible, so you can put into action something very quickly. And if you read every blog, if you watch as many YouTube videos as possible, which means instead of Netflix, you're watching YouTube videos. If you buy 5 books, Jay Shetty says if you read 5 books on one subject, you'll be more proficient than 99% of the population on that subject. So, even psychology, imagine that. You could pick up 5 books on psychology, and you'll be more proficient than most people about psychology. So those types of things, you can hyper learn that so quickly and put it into action. And then you just have to do the daily task every single day. Just action, again, decision, action, repeat, decision, action, repeat, make videos, make sure they get published and handled, and then do it again the next day and do it again. And so from there, I think that is what you really have to focus on, is decide what it is that you want to do, and then hyper learn that subject as quickly as possible, and then take massive action. And I think, it's funny, I was just watching a podcast yesterday on YouTube, because anytime I get a little bit of downtime, I'll pop open a podcast or something. And Ryan Pineda was interviewing these two 20-year-olds already doing almost well over 6 figures a month from Airbnb arbitrage. And what's funny is this 20-year-old said, he was like, he said, this is the best time for any entrepreneur. He goes, I can look up Ryan Pineda, I can look up Alex Hormozi, I can look up Sean Cannell, and guess what? I can just absorb all your information and then just turn around and implement it. I mean, so many successful people out there are just laying out the blueprint for free on YouTube, on Instagram, on social media. You just have to dig in and dial it in. I mean, Alex Hormozi just came out with the book, $100 Million Offers. If you want to really work on an effective ad strategy, that's probably the book you should get. If you want to learn how to do it for free, you get our book, Passive Prospecting. If you want to learn how to, YouTube, if you want to understand YouTube, Sean Cannell, Benji Travis have YouTube Secrets. That gives you the fundamentals and principles of the platform, which I think is foundational. So if you get YouTube secrets, you learn the platform. And that's the other thing. If you're going to be involved on social, you need to understand these platforms from a producer side versus a consumer side. Most people look at it from the consumer side and think, okay, this stuff is silly. It doesn't make sense. It's just a bunch of people bragging, showing their best self. And it's like, well, there's a lot of people being very strategic about it and making a lot of money from social. So learn that platform. If you want to be on a platform, if you want to learn ads, you get $100 million offer from Alex. Like I said, you want to learn YouTube, you get YouTube secrets from Sean Cannell. You want to learn how to do that in your business, any small business, you get our book, Passive Prospecting, and you're going to be good to go. And all the information is right there for you.
It is. So Levi, we can end on that note. All of the information is out there, guys. You just got to get out there, read, listen, and then take the action, as Levi said, and you will be successful. That's all you have to do. So, Levi, thank you so much for being a welcome guest on the show. You definitely gave us tons of content, tons of information to put out there. And we just want to applaud you and say thank you once again for being a guest.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, Levi gave us a lot of good content regarding marketing. So if you're out there and you're looking to find, your next deal, you're looking to do some more transactions, only thing you have to do is position yourself in the marketplace. And one of the key things that he stated without stating it is you just got to give, and you will be rewarded by receiving in the end. So the ultimatum, or what I would say is not the ultimatum, but what you need to have in mind is just provide, just give. This is one of the things that I do with this podcast, what I do with my social media channels is just give you the information that you need for you to take action. And I guarantee you 90% of the people that listen, watch, subscribe, they will listen, watch, and subscribe, but they won't get out there and take the action, or they'll start to take the action, see some of the difficulties that they run up against, and then they'll stop. One thing I want to tell you is just be consistent, be persistent, have a determination to learn, and then get out there and take the action no matter how many roadblocks come before you. It's the opportunity is right there for you. So if you want to hear more from me, if you want to speak with me independently, just go to my website, marcusemaloney.com. I love to sit down and chat with you about marketing, about deal flow, about, what kind of marketing channels we're using, if it's direct mail, if it's, cold calling, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it is you want to talk about, just feel free to give me a call, schedule with me. We have the 15-minute free consultation. And then if you want to get started as a real estate investor, and I want to say this clearly and profoundly, the opportunity is there. You can go to azdfc.com. We hold a group every Thursday, and we teach you guys how to get out there and find deals in any market, during any season, and with almost any type of client. So we're still closing deals. We have students that's closing deals. If you want to be one of the next ones, that hold up a check that says, hey, look, this is real, you can do this, feel free to join us at azdfc.com. Thank you for listening to today's show. I picked up some great actionable items, and I'm sure you did as well. If so, let me know. You can always reach me via social media at facebook.com/MRCSMaloney, Twitter at MRCSMaloney, and of course, IG at MRCSMaloney. You can also always reach me via email at mmaloney@equityri.com. Make sure you reach out to our guests as well. You can always find their contact information in the show notes below. If you have not subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Join the family. And while you're at it, leave us a 5-star review. This is how we tell if we're providing you with what you need for your journey. If there's someone you would like for me to interview, or if there's a subject matter you would like for me to cover, please let me know. Finally, if you're looking for additional information about real estate investing, go to equityrealestateblog.com. Also, youtube.com/Marcus Maloney. Until next time, family, always enjoy the journey.